Well, summertime is still here, so why not dive right into an old Cartoon Network block from the mid 2000s that I feel is highly overlooked, which is Miguzi. I've been meaning to do this video for quite a while now, and I wanted to be the first YouTuber to do a review on Miguzi, since Miguzi is often a forgotten block that nobody really talks about anymore. But then another YouTube channel who goes by the name of Monster Reviews beat me to it. But oh well, let's get started. In 2004, after 7 dominant years, we witnessed the rebirth of a legend as Toonami relocated to Saturday nights, leaving behind a gaping hole for the new block to fill. Jason DeMarco came up with the idea for a more kid-friendly aesthetic applied to a younger sister block. They called it Miguzi. It only lasted 3 years before becoming a victim of Cartoon Network's corruption at the hands of a live-action agenda. I'm sure many can remember Miguzi as that damn block that ended the weekday era of Toonami in 2004, and rightfully so, but I have to admit, I really didn't hate the block either. In fact, I really enjoyed it. I will admit, at first I didn't know what to think about Miguzi replacing Toonami during my preteen years, because I was so used to watching Toonami every weekday afternoon that the change itself was a bit questioning to me, but the block itself grew on me. And while it was no Toonami, it did feature some fun bumpers and some awesome shows, which I'll get to a little later on. If some of you are wondering why this block replaced Toonami during the weekday afternoons, it's because Cartoon Network felt that Toonami was a bit too mature for a kids block, and felt that some of the shows on the weekday lineup became too violent for a weekday broadcast on the network. So if they wanted to keep the older demographic, they had to move Toonami to Saturday nights, just to avoid scaring kids from supposedly things like The Intruder, or the darker, harsher tones that Toonami showed after its move to Saturday nights. Many people at the time felt alienated by the change, and blamed Miguzi for starting the decline of Toonami, which is one of the reasons why people view 2004 as the death of Cartoon Network, which I strongly disagree with and will save that for a future video. So what is Miguzi exactly? It's an action block that aired on Cartoon Network's weekday afternoons that lasted from April 19th, 2004 to June 1st of 2007. Like I said, it replaced Toonami when the block moved to Saturday nights, and because Toonami had to move to Saturday nights, it ended up replacing the Saturday Video Entertainment System block, which was another action block on Cartoon Network that ran on Saturday nights from March of 2003. Miguzi was meant to be a more kid-friendly version of Toonami, but the block itself wasn't dumbed down, and the shows in the lineup could appeal to most demographics, because the block was made by William Street, the same people who made Toonami. Miguzi began as a sort of replacement Scrappy, having been brought in to appease the kids after Toonami was booted off the time slot, and moved to Saturday nights, where it kept going for 4 years before its heartwarming finale. Although it was originally not very popular, especially with the longtime Cartoon Network fans, Miguzi grew on viewers soon enough, especially because it ran popular shows like the 2003 Teen Titans and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Yu-Gi-Oh! GX as well as introducing new classics such as Code Lyoko and Totally Spies. I loved a lot of the shows that they had, especially Code Lyoko. I used to love coming home from school to seeing what the Miguzi block had to offer. Code Lyoko stuck with me because it had such an interesting story, characters, and setting. It had great music and a lot of dark moments that I now understand rewatching it on YouTube. You should check it out for nostalgia, or even as a new experience. It's kind of campy and cheesy sometimes, but it came out during the early 2000s, so what do you expect? Miguzi was hosted by a young CGI girl named Erin, voiced by Jessica DiCicco, a young CGI girl with black hair and a jumpsuit, who at the start of the block was transported underwater and into a sunken alien spaceship by an enormous red fish. There she chills out and watches the shows along with a group of mutant sea creatures and robots, none of who speaks but all have rudimentary personalities. So yeah, basically this is an undersea version of Toonami, and certainly no Atlantis. I mean, I can understand why they had to change it up for kids. One thing that was amusing was their different styles of intermission cards when they went to commercial. Some of it seems like fan art or something, like if they were beta designs for expanding their horizons from under the sea. Seeing the surface world would have been nicer, but they never did that. You know what the strangest thing is? Given the way their little bumpers worked, I'm surprised the Cartoon Network never gave them their own show. I guess it would appear as more of a kid-friendly version of CLAD 2021. just not with the kind of humor C-Lad is known for. They probably would have given them a chance of their own show. The only question is, would it have been good? Probably not, but it wouldn't hurt to try. Another sad thing is that they didn't really do anything tremendous or groundbreaking like Toonami did before. Miguzi then later brought in shows like Static Shock, which I've already reviewed, One Piece, which is a very popular anime, although I've always hated the 4Kids dub, Shaolin Showdown, which is another show I've reviewed, and even some shows from Toonami's 2004 to 2005 lineup, such as Rave Master, which I thought was a very underrated anime, and one that I prefer watching over Fairy Tail, Dice, which is a pretty forgotten anime, but I did love the theme song, but it's sad that I can't find it anywhere online. Duel Masters, which I've always seen as a Yu-Gi-Oh! Ripoff, and Zatch Bell, which I've always felt was a very underrated anime, although I couldn't help but hear Jimmy Neutron whenever Zatch spoke. It kind of sucks that the show never did well here in America, because it was a pretty good show. No one expected Miguzi to become as big as Toonami, or make it to its 10th anniversary, yet despite the obstacles, it somehow managed to survive the Cien Rio's onslaught of originality and directory move to Adult Swim to run alongside its older brother without a period of cancelled broadcasting in its hostless errand's gradual evolution to the millennials generation's answer to Elvria. Eventually, Miguzi lost all sense of identity during the summer of 2006 when it was rebranded. Eren was gone, but some of the creatures remained, with the 3D environments being replaced with a 2D background. The packaging was consistent, but the semi-unique slate of shows was phased out, for it to become a unique purpose of action show rerun block with the occasional action-y Cartoon Network original series, codenamed Kids Next Door. In December of 2006, Code Lyoko was removed from the block, which to me was the final nail in the coffin for the block, since it was literally the one show that the block was known for. It was such a shame to see what the block had become, as it was a clear sign that Miguzi had become a shell of its former self. Then later in June of 2007, Miguzi was cancelled and replaced by a comedy block called Master Control, where viewers can vote online for which show to air during that time slot. Then in September of 2008, Toonami was sadly cancelled due to low ratings. Some blame the death of Toonami for all the Naruto marathons, especially once those marathons went to filler. To me, I don't completely blame Naruto for the death of Toonami, but I do agree it did play a huge part to Toonami's demise during the Tom 4 era. I mean, come on, who wanted to watch a block of filler episodes of Naruto? But I'll talk more about that for a future video. It's rather unfortunate that Miguzi lost its direction and momentum and was cancelled in just a few years of its lifespan, because Miguzi could have been a whole lot more. In fact, DeMarco actually planned for Eren to age over the course of the block's lifespan like Tom, but I guess some things just don't go the way you planned. The demise of Miguzi was the end of a long tradition of action-adventure afternoon blocks on Cartoon Network, and the network never looked back ever since. Now, Cartoon Network has little to no action shows to fill in the afternoon, and it's a real shame. Even though Miguzi never quite reached the heights of Toonami, it was still a fun block for what it was, and it did have some good shows, especially introducing us to Code Lyoko, which I highly recommend any of you check out if you want to buy them on DVD, or just watch them for free online. I actually found out that you could just watch them right here on YouTube. Just avoid watching Evolution, that's all I'm saying. But anyways guys, that just about wraps up my video. Do you have any fond memories of watching Miguzi during the mid-2000s? Or do you still hold a grudge against it for replacing Toonami? Comment down below. This is Red Wolf signing out, and I'll see you next time. Peace.